We are black people and we shouldn't have to feel like this. We shouldn't have to protest because y'all are treating us wrong. We do this because we need to and have rights.
Joining us for We Bleed and We Love Too, the virtual event. My name is Camille, and I just want to explain to you why this event is happening today. We're in current times where there's a lot of racism that we are seeing on social media. People are dying, and there are many people that are filled with frustration. There's a reason for their frustration, but at the same time, the frustration can lead to so much destruction. So this event is here today to bring some form of hope to those people. Along with that, there's also people who just can't seem to understand exactly what's going on with all they're seeing. So this event gives another opportunity for someone out there to understand what's going on. This event is going to consist of 2 artists that will be performing their songs, along with 2 speakers who will be speaking. Everybody that you're going to see on camera is also going to share their experience with racism, along with some encouragement. Now, you're probably wondering, how can you get involved with everything that we are doing today? Use our hashtag WBNWLT and just make sure to also tag We Are Aptitude in that post so that way we can reshare the post. With that said, guys, I hope you guys are excited. Enjoy the show.
Yeah. 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 Welcome to 09. I was in college at 09. Couldn't send the Avon. Working the pen like a gold bond. Couldn't broke with no funds. I had no morning to show some. Couldn't blame our door wrong, but my money go fund. Cause this wasn't out yet. And then spit big money in a store outlet. Check was a big way to the crib. Had to grab more outfits. One was a Corvette. When I dropped in forfeit. What now? What now? Wasn't thinking what the Lord said. And I only had noodles in the crib. I didn't bought some Oreos to eat up in my homie's whip. That was it. Everything from next thing I slipped. Every day $10 Appetites. I was sick. I was scared money don't make no money. Had a job, but I still wanna make more. I was broke, made no money, yeah, I still replacing money, but I still look the guy looking up, replacing money. I need some 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 money. Holy Ghost up in the room, yeah, I need a healing. Take a look at my account, but I can't reveal it. Sniping every single day, that is not appealing. Look for 2 different matches like it's tennis in there. Like, whoa, yeah, I just need a resort. Top down with convertible roof. Wait a minute, I ain't serving the Lord. Need a prayer and a prayer and a do. Young when I'm missing the tooth. Something blink, I'm missing the booth. All I need when the food. Sorry, now I run a paradise. introduce like Mr. Culture, what is up? I trying to not an infiltrate the drug. You gotta lose a piece to gain a piece to race slug. I woke up by that nightmare, got right up at that nub. I'm with my homie Marquise, he used to sell the dubs. Now he up in the casket, no more spreading hugs. My wealth is in the skybox, the heaven showing love. My soul is more important, the money climbing up. Even though I was broke, scared money don't make no money. Had a job, but I still wanna make more. I was broke. Yeah, I'm still replacing money, but I still like the guy looking up replacing money. I was broke. Hey, I need some money. 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 Alright, 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 alright. Yeah. High off life. It's crazy. Yeah. 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 So listen, we dealing with racial injustice right now, and I know it's crazy, and I've dealt with that too. One time I've dealt with it actually a couple of times, man, and you know, getting pulled over, you know, for the wrong reasons, and it's real, you know. I had it as a kid and even older, you know. So racial injustice is a real thing, and we go through it a lot, you know, even economically, you know, and just regular things in life, you know. And that's why we got to just continue to fight and continue to pray that God is going to make a way. Let's go.
Hey, what a cuz, I swear you better not be here when I get back, bro. Bro.
Yo, I'm gonna be at this same spot. What's good?
Think it's a game, watch.
It was me, Dry Rock, and my retire young. We was living cause we cannot die young. From the east side, I came from the 9-1, where they buy guys and bygones. And they shooting their fruit in their free throw. And the winds like people. So they weapons they had was illegal. Went like Danny Glover, it was lethal. Saying the 90s was crazy on Elm Street. Matter of fact, it was really like Hell Street. In my family, we had to groove it out. That was second grade and I was grooving out. Ain't no sign of a gun, ain't no Thule here. And they're bringing it back like a souvenir. See my mama, she prayed I get on a roll. And I did with consecutive on a roll. When the church and I listen, I speaking. But my soul was eternity leaking. When I started preaching for the black and white and Puerto Rican. On the ground, I wasn't thinking. Why the hell the ground, what was I thinking? Let a suicide thought come and sink in. I can't let it have a dummy creaking. Let me lose in that favor like no, you delusional, baby, you local. Let me pray as I sit in this Volvo. Now I'm 28 28. Got my album coming, it's the promo. Got the step low, celebration, elevation, pogo. Keep it moving, meditation, go. Look, take a look out. You can see without a follow. I can teach you how to be a lender, not to borrow. Now I pray to God it is so better than the lotto. They don't have the guts, I had the strength to put this. Don't you play with fire, don't you play with fire. Don't you play with fire, don't you play with fire. Don't you play with. Look. Yo, whoa. Run into the city like Akko, civilized, praying to my only God. When my woman, I run it back, one mind, living on the do or die. Yeah, stop, wait. Talk about the running man, try and do the running man. Black on black for the 100 grand. When the type of time, they don't really understand. Wait, I've been talking to the boss. Whipping, riding holy for the lost. Moving like I'm AI, crossing up the Jordan River for the cross. They be flying with the flaws. I be shining with the sauce. Wait, I just needed my moment to pray. Don't you hate me cause I'm showing love, and I'm teaching them this by the day. Don't you know that I'm son of a God? I am fighting this deep, so run it. Even if I'm on high 97. Don't you know that I keep it 100? I don't see these stakes like a deuce. They just gotta shine from the jeweler. I just show them Christ like a tutor. Then I'm headed back in the Uber. I was underwater with the scoopers. It was underground like it's Bueller. 7-day loop like a hooter. Or the trumpet blow in the tube. Yikes, take a look outside and you can see without a follow. I can teach you how to be a lender, not to borrow. Now I pray to God and it's so better than the lotto. They don't have the guts, I had the strength to put this. Don't you play with fire, don't you play with fire. Don't you play with fire, don't you play with fire. Don't you play with fire, don't you play with fire. Don't you play with fire, don't you play with. 1 2, 3. Yeah. 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 Hold up. Don't you play with fire. 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 Whoa. 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 Yeah. Don't you play with fire. Don't you play with fire. Don't you play with fire. Don't you play with. So listen, I want to give y'all encouragement today, man. Whatever you're going through, if you're going through these racial injustice, if you're going through hard times, the thing is, you got to stay focused. You got to pray, and you got to talk about it. Just like Martin Luther King, he talked about it too. He talked about a change, and he didn't stop talking about it. That's why we have to start talking about it and continue to talk about it and having a message for people. Some people don't know what other people go through in life. And that's why we have to continue to share our life, share our story, share what we go through and the knowledge so we can learn and we can work on this together. No hate, but love. Let's go.
Take that name from
Yeah.
tell you what time it is. Found myself
Rock this out.
in the midst of something bigger than myself.
Yeah.
Something bigger than myself.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. I wanna say I made it. Yeah. Tell me why that I've been waiting for all my life. Yeah. Product of my vibe, made it choosing me that. Or cause the melanin over skeleton, proud to be black. Or cause my mom had me at 16, my road pop vanished. That's real talk, no candy. Cameras looking, I'm handed. These rough notes, that's final. See you way back in that vinyl. Back then I had a crush on Alexandria singing high notes. Bad, you got it bad. That's such an 807-1 up in the stats. See, at the time it's only grandma that's up in his church. What made the 9/11 crash when you feel the adversity? Too many tears of cry. That's why you saw my eye for my brother. But in me, Thanos hold that time, stole my brother. Cause when I go rigid out, we saw them soldiers flowing flags. It remind me saving someone else's life than holding tax. And my life is getting cultured and consciously breathing fast. I just know the devil's working to show us an easy pass, man. Yeah, I wanna say I made it. Hey, tell me why that I've been waiting for all my life. Yeah. Hold up. Hello, your attention when I drive. Wouldn't like to gas me up like it's 10 or number 5. You already know the drill, like we're running suicide. Don't you sweat me like Lord when I prep the flow, Calvin Klein. Oh, I've been having confidence issues. These tears you built me, I need to be confident. I'm with you. I don't want beef with these rappers when I'm in the venue. If I do it, cook with all this like what's on the menu. Working without a utensil. Good rapper, so let's lose the simple. With peace with it, peace dipping. Line of symmetry rhythm, hold up. Faith order my steps, it's Peter walking. Caught up in a rapture of love, Anita's talking. So you change the real you just to be seen and caught on the web. You're Peter walking, hold up. Hey, I wanna say I made it. Hey. Tell me why that I've been waiting for all my life. Yeah, listen. Take that thing from you, wrist. Tell you what time it is. Find myself in the midst of something bigger than myself. Hey. Something bigger than myself. Right. Know that Let's go.
Listen, when you create, does the music give you a space to where you might feel more comfortable revealing something about yourself, saying something about yourself that you would in the booth rather than?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's therapeutic, and then there's certain things you can't really mention to nobody, you know what I mean? Or it's hard to certain things that are like harder to confront, even if it's about yourself. It's about, you know, maybe taking an honest look at yourself and dealing with some things that you're not necessarily proud of or happy about, you know, which wasn't the case for that. But, you know, I know there's times where I've almost learned about myself, like through writing the thought out, through recording the song and being like, you know, and having homies be like, I never know, like, you felt that way, you know, or I never knew like that weighed on you or whatever the case may be, because it's, you know, it's hard sometimes to express those emotions, like just to your friends.
What's so crazy about the end of that song, The Wonder Years, is sometimes we are afraid to speak up and say how we feel and what we're going through. And sometimes it's just best to really speak and talk to somebody about what you're going through. And that's the only way that we all are going to grow with each other and move on. You know, the future that we're looking towards is growing with each other in love and understand that God is love. So it's not just praying. We have to pray. We have to read. But we have to talk to other people and give that knowledge and show, like, there's a better way than just fighting because of skin, because of color, because of just one person on what they're going through or what that person's going through. Learn about each other in love and come together in fellowship. Peace.
Enough pain can make a whole race bitter, but the right amount of love can heal us. I go by the name of the young executive, Michel, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the truth. Winston Churchill said, "The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is." The master teacher taught us that ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. The crazy thing about what's going on in America today is that America has never addressed the truth. The truth is, America's never done right by the black folks anywhere in the country as a whole. And there's still people to this day who think that racism doesn't exist. It's actually ingrained in the fabric of this country. We built this joint for free. We talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of slavery, and then Jim Crow laws after that, redlining, meaning that our property values was systematically placed at a lower level. We were unable to attain property. The 13th Amendment actually states that we are not actually free if we become convicted felons. So the police system was designed for us to become felons. You guys understand what's going on here? And then we're talking about civil rights movement. We're talking about Jim Crow laws, segregation. The list goes on and on and on and on. To this day, we're still battling systematic oppression in terms of the school to prison pipeline. It's still happening. It's still going on. And people are still denying that it even exists. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. America is literally in shambles right now because of the facts. We've never done right by black folks. Slavery itself never really disappeared. It was never really emancipated. It actually just morphed with the 13th Amendment. And not too long ago, we celebrated Independence Day. Independence for who? On July 4th, 1776, anyone that resembled me was still enslaved. So how can the people that state that they're signing a Declaration of Independence in the same breath say that I'm 3/5 of a man? Let's fast forward to present day. I'm currently a college graduate. I'm currently a best-selling author. I'm currently an executive producer of the Youth Empowerment Show. But when I throw a hoodie on or I throw my hat backwards, I'm looked at as a threat. This is America. The crazy thing is you got some silly people trying to change the narrative, saying silly things like, well, what about black on black crime and things of that nature? How can you look at the fruit but not examine the root? Think about it. The seeds that were planted hundreds of years ago were of violence, were of hatred, were of all these disgusting things. But let me ask you this. What's the number one most powerful thing to combat hate? That's right, love. Love. Love is the most powerful thing that can combat hate. And one of the greatest commandments says, love your neighbor as you love what? Yourself. That's a fact. They say that hurt people hurt people. So you can't love anyone else if you don't love yourself, right? You got to know the truth. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. But what if you're not speaking the truth? You have to examine yourself. Am I a liar? Am I a cheater? Am I violent towards others? Am I abusive? Am I a womanizer? Am I toxic? You can't love anyone else until you love yourself. Do you purposely do things that will hurt yourself? Am I drinking or smoking, doing drugs, cutting myself? You know, there's so many things that we're doing personally. We're not even talking about globally or nationally, but look at yourself personally. What are you doing? What can you change? I want you to be the change that you want to see. Right now, in this country, there are people protesting and having the need to shout out that their lives matter. How wild is that? The country is never addressing the truth, and literally day by day, more and more excuses are being made. So let's shift gears a little bit, right? They say that trauma that is never addressed can never be healed, right? So if we're not addressing these situations globally, nationally, or internally, we can never be healed as a whole. So you gotta, I know it's tough, right? But you gotta hold that mirror up to yourself and examine yourself to see if you're doing wrong by within yourself and if you're doing wrong by others. I hope I'm making sense to y'all, because you gotta do the healing. You gotta do the work, right? So it was Jay-Z who says, I know the pain is real, but you can't heal what you never reveal. There's some conversations that you're gonna have to have with yourself, with God, and sometimes with others. I'm talking about the things that are so deep and hurtful that they might have never ever even left your lips. That's the truth that we're talking about. But when you speak your truth, it shall set you free. The master teacher was once asked, there was a group of people, right? They went up to Jesus and said, yo, Jesus, how do we get to heaven? How do we combat all this hatred? How can we just be better? Like, what can we do? The master teacher answered them. He said, I am. I hope y'all getting this. He said, I am. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one goes to the Father except through me. So think about that. You gotta be the truth. You gotta be the life. You gotta be the love. Do people look at you and see God? Do people look at you and see the truth? Do people look at you and see love? You gotta embody that, right? If we're made in the image of God, we gotta embody what God is. So what's the solution? What's the solution to all this hatred? What's the solution to all this racism? What's the solution to all this negative madness that's going on in the world? I am. I am. I am. Be the change you want to see. And with that being said, I go by the name of the young executive, Michel. If no one's told you today, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. God bless y'all.
No more, but I got childlike faith. Guess I'm a kid at heart, cause I believe. I'm not a kid no more, but I got childlike faith. Guess I'm a kid at heart, cause I believe. I believe me and my father identical. I believe he tell it straight, no subliminals. I believe, period. I want an enemy taking you serious. You ain't got time to be wasted. Signs and no wonders, you ain't gotta chase them. Healing in your hands, but they going to lace it. Knowing you advance, but you shut up for basic. You cannot, bruh, you cannot fake your authority. Seeking the kingdom priority. I wanna carry his will out, but I gotta go where the Lord to be. I received so many prophecies. Started to shift my philosophy. Feeding for blessings with more than a blessing. But childless idolatry. I'm not a kid no more, but I got childlike faith. Guess I'm a kid at heart, cause I believe. I'm not a kid no more, but I got childlike faith. Guess I'm a kid at heart, cause I believe all you tell me. I believe all you tell me. Yeah, all you tell me. I believe all you tell me. You got no reason to lie to me. You gave me purpose, it's gotta be. Man, can I live by Ezekiel, your breath, so I swallow the word of it. Yeah, kingdom of heaven, I got it inside of me. Drunk in the spirit, but living sobriety. I got a faith that'll give you anxiety, but you living quietly will never change society. Do you pray timidly or pray boldly? Are you unrighteous or made holy? Your prayer results are based on faith, and the way you view yourself is how you pray. I'm not a kid no more, but I got child life. Like faith. Cause I believe all you tell me. I'm not a kid no more, but I got childlike faith. Guess I'm a kid, yeah. I believe all you tell me. 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 You got no what? You got no reason to lie to me. You gave me purpose, it's gotta be. I see the turf of the enemy, You know we taking that violently. I never back down, it ain't in my blood. If you said something, no, it ain't no bluff. How you love God, but you can't show love. What he said or what you feel, gotta trust one. I inherited my faith like a trust fund. Bridegroom coming, cannot bring a +1. Don't be lacking with no oil when the bus comes. Kid no more, but I got childlike faith. Yes, I'm a kid at heart, cause I believe all you tell me. I'm not a kid no more, but I got childlike faith. Yes, I'm a kid at heart, cause I believe all you tell me. 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 All you tell me. I believe all you tell me. All you tell me. All you tell me. I believe all you tell me. My name is Zabbai. I'm from Stamford, Connecticut, born and raised, Christian hip hop artist. And that song is really important and powerful for me to acknowledge and recognize my identity, who I am, not just what I think about myself, but what God thinks and says about me. And today, in the world that we live in, it is so easy for us to get our identity from the things that we do, the people that we are around, the jobs and the gifts that we carry. And it was really important for me to acknowledge and recognize that outside of what God says about me, it is borderline meaningless. And especially with growing up in a society that has so many racial upbringings and so many prejudiced backgrounds, it is very easy to fall away and fall astray to thinking that I and all that I am is surmounted in what someone thinks about me because of the color of my skin. I've been talking to a couple of people about this, and it's interesting to think about this man named Jesus that we know as an international icon and an international figure, to acknowledge that even Jesus, being a Jewish man, had to deal with racism. In the Jewish culture of that time, there were Romans that guarded and watched over these places and in essence, lorded over these places. And to think about this concept that Jesus, being a Middle Eastern brown-skinned man, had to carry out the assignment that his father gave him while dealing and seeing Romans on a daily, and not only putting up with
any racial slurs or racial actions that were done against him, but daily loving them. And I believe that the only way that he was able to operate out of that and fully walk out his calling and his purpose was acknowledging, you know what, I am only what my Father says of me. And so I want to encourage anyone that's listening that you have to find the fullness of your identity in the one that created you, and not in other created things and other created beings. So we're going to get into the second song, and the song is called Illuminate.
If I ever lose it all, when my back hits the wall, please keep me standing. When I've cried until I'm numb, whispering your will be done. When my lights go out, I pray you illuminate.
Sickening going through difficult hills, especially knowing you with me regardless of all that I feel, and knowing you're closer than all of my breath. Why are you speaking in parables? Cause I have endured through all of the tests, but this one is getting unbearable, terrible. I need a second opinion, I need to call me a witness, cause I'm racing towards the mark, but I need help to reach the finish. You say to carry my shield and my sword, but I have no strength in my arms, but all the strength I was on was really mine, wasn't yours. And I repent for that, I know you were sent for that, but lately I've been feeling like you come and you go. You're there when I'm up, disappear when I'm low. Can I be honest, cause when I'm in private I feel like you're silent, listening close. Damn, I can't take no more, I'm broken down, I can't break no more. Speak to me now, open your mouth, I need a joy that would never run out. If I look anywhere else, might as well save me from myself. I can't do it, need you now when I'm not moving. So respond to me as I sing to you, God.
If I stumble, if I fall, if I ever lose it all, when my back hits the wall, please keep me standing. When I've cried until I'm numb, whispering your will be done. When my lights go out, I pray you illuminate, 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 illuminate. I pray you illuminate.
If I knew the time and not how you would move, how would I view you? Would it be unusual? Know all my bills due, but you bless me unusual. And maybe I'd use you, praying and reading the right amount until I moved you. Is that a relationship or a manipulationship? I'll take the risk. Either I trust my eyes or trust my maker's lips. I'll take the risk. Either I'll receive you or receive Satan's gifts. I'll take the risk. Either I trust in you or trust what they suggest. Lies gonna tell me God ain't moving cause I'm not his favorite. Yeah, no, that ain't it either. Right in the middle of doubt and believing. Stuck in between to be still and be screaming. You hung on that cross, wasn't complaining. I don't understand. How does this fit in your plan? You tell the oceans to never pass over that sand. Everything fits in your hands, so where do I move from here? Speak to me now, open your mouth. I need a joy that would never run out. If I look anywhere else, might as well save me from myself. And I can't do it, need you now when I'm not moving. So respond to me as I sing to you.
If I stumble, if I fall, if I ever lose it all, when my back hits the wall, please keep me standing. When I've cried until I'm numb, whispering your will be done. When my lights go out, I pray you illuminate.
This next one, recognizing that if God doesn't illuminate the things in my life and the darkness in my life and around me, I can never fulfill and carry out the things that are in front of me because I can't see it. And one thing that's for sure through everything that we're dealing with and everything that we're going through right now is that we can't go it alone. So I'm going to bring my man Shiwan. We're going to do this called Lone Wolf. I'm going to get off the mic for this one. Off the stand at least. Yeah. Whoa, yeah. You see, they asking this question, they saying, should I go through it? Should never go through it alone.
That's right.
Should I go through it?
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
Should I go? Should I go?
Yeah.
Recognizing that I need my brothers. Recognizing that we need each other. Recognizing it ain't black and white, cause every color complement each other.
Yeah.
Recognizing I've been in the field of laboring with people I didn't really know. Recognizing I've been wrestling God. I walk with a limp but no let it show.
Yeah.
I walk with a chip but I let it go.
Yeah.
Cause talking your lips don't equate to decisions or actions made. Actually act on the fact you changed. Actually back to the fact he raging, yet did life with like taught named John James. I'm saying I gotta go through this. Even Jesus had to forgive Judas, and I know the reason why we get influenced by it. Ate the fruit and now we so inspired. Knew the truth but wasn't moving by it. Can't kill this brother thinking God was biased. Now we are lone wolf. Can't nobody protect him because he living lone wolf. Bitterness and rejection, you find that in a lone wolf. Thinking Dolo was better. Just remember Satan tempted Eve, no one was with her. Just remember God created Eve and Adam together. Just remember the Trinity been together forever. So you been going through it on your own, so moving on your own, that is not the way it calls you, Why you living dolo in community? Why you lone wolf when you still a sheep? Lone wolf, don't be lone wolf, left the 99 for you, that's the wrong move. Thinking you alright, thinking you just fine. Come back to the tribe. Why you living lone wolf? Don't be living lone.
All I needed was a way up.
Way up.
Brighter days when I pray. Thought it's easy like a layup.
Swish.
Thank God you ain't made up. Remember when I was going through habits, stuck in cities like I'm running through traffic, honest cities like I'm problems and baggage, but you may be better going with the dragons. I got reason. It's a lie, not a little. You calm my meltdown. Even times with a hotter sizzle. I love when you talk to me. Even your time when you walk with me. You get the blood on my artery. You in my heart, you a part of me. Can't let this world come and start of me.
Start of me?
See, I'm a part of you too. I'll never fall for you too, okay? I love to make up my plans, cause when it started seeing you, okay. This is a Jason Love. You came real close like a God, babe. No ordinary love flow. You thinking I'm talking about Sade? Let me just teach to the lesson. Your time and your word is a blessing. If they wanna see more of you, they gotta just lift it a session. One time. Let it go. I can't inject, ain't no take back. Don't push the button, no playback. Just let it ride like a Maybach. Yeah.
You've been going through it on your lonesome, moving on your own. That is not the way it calls you. Why you living dolo in community? Why you lone wolf, but you still a sheep? Lone wolf, don't be lone wolf. Left the 99 for you. That's the wrong move. Thinking you alright, thinking you just fine. Come back to the trial. Why you living lone wolf? Don't be living lone. Yeah. Lone wolf.
Yeah.
COVID that.
Yes, sir. We're going to talk about that old thing back. We ain't never going back to that. Let's go. Yeah. Hold up. On God, I be racing. Hold up. On God, I be racing. Hey. I gotta let all these stuff go, you know what I'm saying? Hold up. Listen. One time. Listen. Hold up. Wait. No time for that old thing back.
Say what?
I don't got time for that old thing back.
Say what?
I don't got time for that old thing back.
Say what?
I don't got time for that old thing back. Yeah. No time for that old thing back. I don't got time for that old thing back. Hey, I don't got time for that. I don't got time. Look, listen, heartbeat with no BPM. Really thought it was the morning, it was 3 p.m. All the stressing got me living like it's EDM. And my everyday struggle more like CNN. What? You wanna see my news story, then you gotta swipe up. New flash at the press, gotta get the likes up. It was hard for me to see the real God inside us. All I needed was a touch, can you feel the mic? Let's go! I was 25. Trying to feel fashionless, now I'm on my job. Didn't know this dash to live, what draw me to pride. Now my flow is effortless, man, it's really not. Then I gotta move, with no diddy bop. The years are passing, now I'm glad that I observed my lane. Be more like Triple E and a lot less like Kurt Cobain. I move to 6 speeds, don't pray that I don't swerve again. I'm for this new flag, no way less concerned with no time for that old thing back. I don't got time for that old thing back. Let's say, I don't got time for that old thing back. Come on, I don't got time for that old thing back. No time for that old thing back. I don't got time for that old thing back. I don't got time for that old thing back. Hey, I don't got time.
Listen up. Yeah, you know I came out of a transformation. He shifted my spirit, was a translocation. From glory to glory be my transportation. He came down to save me, was a grand occasion. I gotta let this heart of flesh replace my heart of stone. What? I gotta trust the art of wrestling myself at home. What? I gotta trust the chief of cornerstone, no Pat Mahomes. What? I got a new perspective, DJ, I ain't talking drones. Straight up out the sky, Holy Spirit got me baptized. Gave me the drive, I ain't talking about no Mac. Fire in my eyes, can't be looking at your backside. I have my back to the future, Marty McFly, that's right. Keep it 100, I was running from that testing on me. But sit in my stomach till I let him put that blessing on me. Heaven on me, the weapon on me, taking territory. The kingdom coming, I'm just on the planet, tear for me.
No time for that old thing back.
Old thing.
I don't got time for that old thing
Ain't
back.
no old things.
I don't got time for that old thing
Ain't
back.
no old things.
I don't got time for that old
1,
thing
2,
back.
3, let's go.
No time for that old thing back. I don't got time for that old thing back. I don't got time for that old thing back. I don't got time for that. Yeah. Older me, never stayed calm. It gets deep, the plot thickets, and the rage storm. Mama, he do not know better. Praying hands for him. Even the pastor or the police go lay hands on him. But even you do those 2 things that I don't know about. Some life is slow and tell, but not all that we show about. Sometimes it get close to the grave, but that don't make us guilty. But birth, but straight to sin. So we started filthy. Praise God.
I have a material witness on an aggravated battery with a handgun, and they believe this might be in retaliation to her testimony.
Yeah. Listen. Let me tell my story real quick. Look. Do or die, who am I? You can't really see in braille. You can't touch or connect with the dots, you can't fail. This is back in 99, she ain't never heard Chanel. All he heard was DMX, he ain't never heard Pharrell. Fast forward, he like Bizzle, he go way up. And the grown that's in the sin, he can't stay up. Know the cost to be the boss, better pay up. He don't practice in the gym, missing lay ups. This is turning bad, we was down Sherman Ave. Too mad, too many sorries, had to turn it back. You turn. They was laughing at me, never drank a smoke. I was in the dorm room, hazel blow, blaze on notes. I was writing 16, mixed breed, braids are slow. Stuck around at HOC, had my written lacing, no, I know. Run around the city so professional. 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 Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Trevor Delmore II. I am part of Bethany Church in Stamford, Connecticut. I actually serve there as the young adult director with my wife, Mariana. I work in sales at a growing tech company that is based in Stamford. And I know that part of the reason that I was asked to join you here tonight is to describe or to get into some of my experiences with racism. I think first what I'd like to touch on is just my understanding of what it means to be a person of color in these United States of America. And especially as we look at what's happening in our world right now, we are in the throes of a pandemic. Simultaneously, we also are we're seeing a lot of stress economically. We are in a recession that's affected many people. Some folks have lost their jobs. Other people have had to go on furlough, and many others have seen a reduction in pay. But what really stands out amid all of these circumstances is the fact that there is a re-emerging civil rights movement that has taken place. I think one of the reasons that I'm here is because when the civil rights movement had started to grow some legs, if you will, back in the 1960s, people like my aunt were marching for the cause of justice and equality in our country. And then about 20 years later, my father was also participating in many of the marches following part of that march was to see Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday recognized as a national holiday. And he was at D.C. at the time attending Howard University. Years later, I ended up attending a college similar to Howard University in a sense, in the sense that they are also a historically black college and university. And what that means is it's a school that was created prior to the society that in which we live now. So a lot of these historically black colleges and universities were made for students during the time of the Civil War who otherwise could not get into some of the better schools. But the school that I did attend is called Morehouse College. And one of the reasons that I wanted to go to Morehouse College is when I was in high school, there was an incident that took place in our school between my junior and senior year in which there were some students who did not necessarily agree with things like affirmative action and also did not understand why we celebrated Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And there were other things that these students had said as well, but that I remember a teacher had pulled me to the side and asked me if I read the newspaper. And I said, I don't really read the newspaper because I was playing on the sports team. And the only thing that I really cared about was who made it in the highlights for the sports, for the sports section as a basketball player. But he encouraged me to read that article, and I read the articles, and I was just stunned, and I felt that these articles were definitely written by folks who didn't seem to get it. So I remember I went to go and study a little bit more about Dr. King and affirmative action and all these things. And with his help, and this teacher, by the way, was an older white gentleman who I still keep in contact with occasionally. But he was the one who really prompted me to go and write this article because he felt like the articles that were in that newspaper were not appropriate and needed to be countered. And so I did that. And in the process of doing that research and learning about Dr. King and all that he did, it made me want to choose Morehouse College as the school for me to attend. When we talk about how do we experience racism, I just gave you that. I gave you that situation, but I think people experience it in different ways. Sometimes it's overt, and other times it's subtle. I was viewing one of my social media accounts earlier today, and I read something that really stuck out to me, and it said being a person of color in America is, you can hear about you can go about your day and you're feeling really happy, and then you hear about something that happened, perhaps someone who was killed senselessly, and then you don't really know how to feel. You can start to feel, you can start to feel angry, but then you start to dwell on it, and that's all you're thinking about, and it consumes your thoughts, even as you're trying to do other things like work and go to school. Or you can make the choice to ignore what's happened. By taking that option, you almost numb yourself to what's actually happening in the world. And so that, I think, is a good illustration of what it feels like on a constant basis when you are a person of color. It can be an emotional roller coaster at times. I think what's encouraging for me is, though I am a person of color and affirm that to the fullest, I also know that my primary identity, I see myself through the lens of being a Christian, being a believer in Christ, and knowing that doesn't really matter about skin pigmentation when it comes to my relationship with God. But I do know that that also gives me the responsibility to speak up and to speak out in these types of situations, because God is a God of justice. And that's why you're hearing about movements such as Black Lives Matter and people rallying behind it, because they're recognizing that there is an injustice in our country, and it's not just in America, it's in other places of the world as well. One of the things I was thinking about as far as why we all need to be here and why everyone, regardless of what race you identify with, has a responsibility to speak out, is I was reminded of a poem, and the poem's called "First They Came." I was going to read it from my phone, but you can Google it. It's called "First They Came." It was written by a pastor during the times of around the time of the Nazis and the Holocaust, when the Holocaust was taking place. And the pastor was critiquing people who were intellectuals and people who were even in the clergy for not speaking up during the time of the Holocaust, and allowing allowing these people to be taken away, to be brutalized, and in many cases killed because they chose not to speak out. And the church, I'm talking about the institutionalized church here, has not done the best job when it comes to speaking out. We choose to overlook these types of events. We try to find ways to distance ourselves from what's happening, and God has not distanced himself from this event. In the scripture, it says that, I'm going to paraphrase Jesus. This is one of the problems of not being in professional ministry, but Jesus says to an extent that you focus on the tithes and all these other things, but you don't focus on the weightier matters of the law, things such as justice. And we as a institution, I think we have let a lot of people down. And I think that has to stop. And I think that there's tremendous potential for us to turn the corner, because just as I mentioned, the civil rights movement, that was, that had received a huge lift from people in the church, people like Martin Luther King Jr., people like Joseph Lowery, people like Ralph Abernathy, and so many others who had spoken out. And so I think the church has to figure out, what side of history do we want to be on? Do we want to be on the right side of history, or do we want to be on the wrong side of history? The church had at times advocated for slavery. The church at times had supported or said nothing when it came to segregation. The Ku Klux Klan says that they get some of their ideology from the Bible. And so I think the church needs to really speak out, and we need to delineate between what's truth and what's falsehood, and get in line with what the Word of God is saying, which is truth, which is mercy, which is compassion. We want that for all people. This is going to be something that will go on. Progress is worth fighting for. We're not necessarily going to see everything change overnight, but we are at a point in time in which I believe we're going to see a radical shift. We're already starting to see it. Views are changing. This generation gets it. They're tired of seeing these the things that have happened in the past continue to go on. And God is using and raising up this generation to do great and mighty works. God is not just looking for church people. God is not just looking for people who are going to come and warm up the pews. God is not just interested in tithes and offerings. God is looking for a generation. I know I'm going to catch some flack from some pastors, but God is looking for a generation who is hungry for the things that break his heart. He is looking for people who are going to wake up with the things that are top of mind for him and stay up in prayer because he has a mandate for change in the earth. This is not just a social movement, a political movement, or some ideological fad, but we do believe that, as Jesus would say, that seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And that word righteousness actually translates to mean justice in certain translations. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. So as we are seeking God, we're seeking first his kingdom and the righteousness and the justice that's associated with it. We can't do one without the other.
Thank you for joining us for We Bleed and We Love To, the virtual event. So we want to take this opportunity to help people in need. We are deciding to partner up with FaithActs to help people out. FaithActs for Education is a Black-led, faith-based education advocacy organization in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Their goal is to help children get education they deserve. FaithActs believes that every child deserves the opportunity to graduate from college, take care of their family, and fulfill their God-given potential. They believe relationships, leaderships, and civic engagements. And we want to encourage you, continue loving people, continue to operate on your love.